Hey everyone, I'm Julien Jarry and welcome to Adorama TV. If you don't know me, I'm a New York-based cinematographer. I'm also a photographer and a director. Hot off the heels of Fujifilm's announcement of their new Eterna cinema camera, I want to share my experience in testing the Fujifilm GFX100 II for video. My team and I shoot a lot of documentaries, but then the next day we might be in a music studio, and then shooting a commercial, where both 16:9 and 9:16 deliverables are equally as important. Why would I be seriously looking at this camera for video? I've been happy with my kit for years, but I'm always looking to see what's next. The GFX100 II was released over a year ago, and although I glanced at it a few times, it wasn't until recently I really started to look at it as a video camera. I dove deep in the research, learning that it has really good dynamic range, not the bad rolling shutter some people make it out to have, and could be a viable option for a pocket IMAX camera. I'm being serious, I had no idea what this thing could actually do. So I rented the camera, and since then I've gone all in testing and learning it. I quickly realized that it has a massive amount of things going for it. It shoots ProRes 422 HQ internally, RAW externally. The 4K 16:9 full width of the sensor is larger than the Red Raptor and only trumped by the Alexa 65. Its rolling shutter in that mode is only 15 milliseconds, which is a pretty healthy average compared to other cameras today. F-Log2 seems to produce an image that I personally am very familiar with, and it doesn't feel like I'm having to work any differently, which is huge for me. I don't want a camera or a color science that turns my whole style upside down. Not 2 days after I have the camera, Fujifilm announces and releases F-Log2C, a new profile that offers even better color reproduction. Alright, so the more I use the camera, the more things start to shine. The viewfinder. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love how the stripped down camera made me shoot. The sensor size is just so unique and opens up new and really never seen before possibilities for lensing. I've been testing all of my favorite vintage Leica R and Atlas Mercury 1.5x anamorphic lenses, and because of the size of the sensor, it's almost creating new lenses. It's revealing parts of these lenses that have never been seen before. If 35mm is usually my go-to focal length, I might be more drawn to a 50 on this camera because it gives me something more like the equivalent of a 40mm. And because of that longer lens, the perspective is truly powerful. I mean, we're talking about a massive sensor here. These are the sensor sizes that you've seen shoot movies like Dune or Joker, but we're talking about it in a relatively affordable mirrorless camera. Let's talk about the battery life. I've been shooting internal 4K ProRes 422 HQ using the full width of the sensor, and did that for the better part of an afternoon into the evening on this shoot, and I didn't use half of a single battery. I mean, how is that even possible? The image stabilization is great, and I've mapped a bunch of different focal length profiles for the lenses I've been using. It even stabilizes anamorphic lenses, and it's a very useful feature for the camera. Finally, it even has Frame IO camera to cloud. That means I can set the camera up to send proxies to my editor in real time, built into the camera with no extra hardware. Let's talk about the footage. The grain structure looks like film, and I'm not just saying that. There's no color to the grain, and the camera is completely usable even up to 12,800 ISO. You can also adjust the internal noise reduction of the camera, but I had it turned all the way down. I already touched on it, but again, the dynamic range is there, the color is exactly what I'm looking for, and that unique perspective really makes your image shine when used correctly. As you can tell, I haven't been this excited about a single piece of gear for a long time. I've been searching for something large format, but relatively affordable and small. That combination, as you know, never has really existed until now. I haven't done a ton of narrative work, I'd like to, but in the excitement of testing this camera, as you can see, I found myself shooting a friend's proof of concept for a script they wrote. Having such a powerful combination and such a small footprint with that viewfinder and the in-body image stabilization, it's just wild. It truly inspired me to get out. What about the Eterna? We don't know much yet other than it'll have the same sensor as the GFX. It'll have internal NDs, which is absolutely crazy. Those must be the biggest ones to be ever put into a camera. Honestly, the body looks great. It looks like it's gonna have everything you could ever want. And I think Fujifilm knows that the price needs to be competitive, which is crazy to say because again, we're talking about an image that competes with the Alexa 65, which you can't even buy. So does this mean I'm switching everything over to the GFX? No. Am I gonna add this camera to my current kit and even use it as an A cam? Absolutely. And am I excited about Eterna? Obviously. Gear isn't everything, and we know that the story, the blocking, light, and other departments like art can be more important than what camera you're using to tell the story. But we can't ignore the advantages this relatively small camera has going for it and what opportunities it'll open up for us filmmakers. The GFX100 II is 100% legit and what I've been looking for a very long time. Something different with a huge sensor that actually works like a real camera. Not something that takes effort, but something that actually feels like what I'm used to shooting on. Just bigger, with some special sauce. I'm sold.